Right, good evening everyone. How are you all doing? So, um, the first of the Bretonnian painting streams, and we'll be starting off with the peasants. So, the keen-eyed might notice that the peasants aren't bare. They have in fact had some paint thrown on them. And grapes with a grape shot. But yeah, anyway. Also it's a bit dingy in here. Now it doesn't look too bad on stream. Let me just put my phone. Straight badly from flu. That's not fun. There we go. So, what I've done is I've primed the minis. So I did a base coat of black. Then I did a mid-tone, so I basically sprayed almost all over except from the very bottom brown. And then I've gone over the top with I think like the equivalent from Games Workshop is like Xantry Dust. But Tamiya XF 78 wooden deck tan. Basically just as like pre-shading. So it should be a matter of just throwing the correct like shades and contrast paints onto the minis to colour them correctly. As I figured that it would be nice if I could have a productive painting stream, in quotation marks, rather than one where I just sit here priming minis, because I don't think you guys really care about watching me use an airbrush to prime the miniatures. I feel like most of you either don't have airbrushes or would rather I just get on with things anyway. Why would you get into Age of Sigmar? The nicest way possible. Okay. I need to grease, I think, the arm for this microphone. But yeah. Still need to prime and get the knights ready, but I'm gonna save that for when we actually have all the colour schemes sorted for them. I like the minis. Cool. Good. By the minis, I just can't say much positive about the state of Age of Sigmar at the moment. What I can tell you about Age of Sigmar in its current iteration is everyone I know who used to play Age of Sigmar no longer does. Why is that? Because third edition? Just doesn't appeal to Age of Sigmar players. As it seems to have taken most of the negative traits from other games of Warhammer. Don't have an airbrush, no place to put it though. Had a work-related meeting at last Thursday, unluckily. Only interviewed, hopefully able to progress on temporary place to permanent. Nice. Right, I'm just moving all of the knights out of the way because they're currently sat on top of my paints. Well, the Games Workshop ones, because I'll be using a lot of contrast today, I think. Right. So, units we have colours for are the men at arms with spears. We don't have a colour scheme yet for the knights. Well, sorry, for the archers. So what we'll do is, well, it's up to you guys. Do you want to see me work on Hamish's men at arms, or who else's was it? And hey K9, how's it going? It's been a while. Just bring up for reference. So we can either work on mixed men at arms or Hamish's men at arms. Thankfully, both are going to be relatively similar and straightforward. Because spoilers, I'm not going to be painting full stripy details on the men at arms. Because that makes no sense. The shields, yes. The shields will have the stripes on them. The men at arms themselves, no. And we might be running into a small problem already, because the colour is planning to use for the yellow, I can't find. Paint mix first, so okay. So long. Okay. Fine. If you want me to paint them in like the full stripy glory, you can paint my rent this month. So it's going to take me a full month to do that. Yeah, if you want full pontifical guard, you can pay me to do it. You know what, we might have to just go straight for the obnoxious, for the Imperial Fist yellow, for these boys, I think, because I can't find my Nazdreg yellow, which is what I really want to use. And I think we're going to have to go from that down. No, never mind. Thank fuck, we can get rid of that abomination. Right. And ultramarine blue should be the blue. And so, yeah, it was one of the things that, like, when it came to the old world, that made me really excited for the old world. There's actually the ability to use contrast paints to paint up entire regiments. So, thankfully, Mick isn't a terrible person. look after yourself, Solitaire. Yeah, Mick isn't a terrible person, so Mick has chosen a color scheme which is, well, normal. Yeah, no, it's something I... Semi-joking, with the rent thing, but, yeah. I kind of do need you guys' help for rent. So if you do want to help, please do. Otherwise, it's no pressure. I can't rely on you guys to pay my rent for me. It isn't a job. If you do want to help, it's greatly appreciated. And if you have any ideas for what we can do, like, well, I can do, to, like, make it worth your money, then feel free to suggest them. I've got another Garrow you could paint. You know, at this point, I mean, we talked a while ago about the ideas of converting him back into being a Death Guard. If you want to commission that, you can take some time trying to work that one out. Although I feel like almost the entire body would end up being 3D printed or green stuffed. Right, colours. So mix was blue and yellow, halved. Okay. What I'll do is we're gonna just sprinkle, like, well, color random sections of the clothing yellow for a start. And we'll get around to working on the shields later on. First, just shaking the hell out of Nazdrag yellow. So yeah, it's like one of the things I want to keep too with these guys is trying to keep it looking fairly realistic. So if the dye and the colour isn't exactly common, it's not going to feature dominantly on the peasantry. On the knights themselves, like when it comes to painting Hamish's Pegasus Knight, for example, then yes, you know, going like full detail, like properly doing all the stripes, that's absolutely something I'm going to have to do. But these are peasants. These are, you know, people from the town or village that your knight, like, looks over. Who you've, you know, told to come and fight for you as part of the army. So they're not exactly going to be, very well armed, right? Or well equipped, or robed. Now this guy I want to just... on him, paint the, you know, for a bit of fabric around his neck. And hopefully, work I did to emphasize shading is really going to help pay off here. And we can see what else should be painted whilst we're here as well. So, should his words. I have him. Should this padded section be painted blue, or should his his like robes be painted blue? Because I feel like one of these should be like more of like a pale color. And then this should be, so this like this padded section will be blue, or this will be blue. We need fail English at some. Yeah. Okay. So put him to the side for now, and then on this guy, next guy along. Let's have a look at the textures on this guy. And what colour should be what? So we have 3 different elements to this guy's clothing. We have this section here, this section here, and then this section here, which should be the same colour as the arms. So on this one, what colour should the padded section be? Or the main clothing, or this? Because these should be, again, 3 colours, ideally. And okay, Connor, I can see you've swapped over to YouTube. I think with this one, it would be nice to see his like main tunic area yellow. Oh, it's the thing. These are not like a trained professional military. These are peasants or convicts or criminals which have been, given a spear and shield and told by the lord of the land that they are going to go and fight. And that they need to do their best effort to look the part. They aren't given anything. There's no state. Well, the weapons are possibly provided by the state, by his lordship, but otherwise it's stuff they've had to bring for themselves. And based on the sheer variety of the polearms, I'm going to assume not even the polearms were provided by his lordship. Or her ladyship, I guess. Okay, so I wanted to do one with added yellow. On YouTube. Ooh, this one's going to be a fun one because his entire gambeson covers his body, so I'll leave that one to the side for now. That one. So one's the obvious added gambesons. Can't only be those two, right? Nope, there we go. I'll do this one yellow. To be honest, I have no clue how often they restock. All I know is Games Workshop does all their orders and like plans for like delivering stocks on Tuesdays. As if they actually, you know, keep a constant stock, I don't know. On someone a bit more fancy, like the musician here, he's got the striped plated gambeson. I can't remember what the correct term is for it. But on this guy we can, you know, we can do the stripes because it's fairly evident and part of the model. This one is a bit more of a veteran to the unit, evidently. And on the banner, we're not going to paint the banner with contrast paints. So, need to decide where's going to be yellow and where's blue on him. So what I'll be trying to do is trying to like put the heraldry as best as possible onto that shield, and then do the field behind it and the colours, you know, relate. Although this one it might be that we do because the bottom half of the shields, well, 2/3 of the shield will be yellow and top half blue. We might just do the borderlow colours in the background. I'm really not sure where to put the colours on this one. We'll wait on that one. There's no obvious inspiration coming to mind. But this guy, he's going to be painted brown, so we can leave him be for now. Yeoman. Should probably be leaning more into the heraldic colours, so do is we're going to paint most of his body yellow. Just going to take our time and move the paint downwards to work in sections. And yeah, we're really focusing on trying to make sure that it doesn't pool anywhere. We are trying to get it as evenly as possible. And also, you're still going to like paint in details like the colour of the belt separately. Still a good idea to try and be neat. Especially at this point, I haven't decided whether or not we're going to try and contrast the belts or not. We'll leave the inside of the black. We are going to do the sleeves on this guy as well. There's this weird double over tabard. I think we're still going to just paint both bits yellow. Up the yellow there. And this guy we will do Yellow on top and blue on the robes. Like that for now. I'll take those two to the side for a moment. Right, this guy. I'll take yellow. Find what that belt is. Start putting the paint down. Hey Faz, how's it going? Okay. Better than earlier. Well, that's good. This guy we will do yellow for the ruffled area. Yeah, I quite like how like realistic of a yellow this comes out for like a peasantry. You have to remember that like the colors these guys would be using will be as common, well, realistically as common as they are for us. And for colors which we'd realistically expect to be able to make, they would be able to make. And so if it's like a very expensive rare dye that gives like a particular shade of a certain color, you're probably not going to find it on a peasantry. What I should do is just rotate them around for now. Actually see what kind of combinations are already done. Yeah, I really want to make sure that the guys don't feel like they are like a professional military unit. Especially as there is going to be some blurring along the lines. Eventually. Because I do want to explore running a exiled army. So a border prince army. And with that comes the option to take some more professionally trained, in quotation marks, units. And so I think it would be a good idea if the more professional military units looked a bit more professional. It's a crazy idea, I know. Right, so no, right. This one should have yellow. Robes. Yeah, what's everyone up to? Hopefully you've been having a good evening. Chilling back. How's painting going? It is going good, I think. Just some very fine tweaks while the yellow's drying. Just chilling, good. It's always good to have a nice relaxing evening. No, I'm not going to put any yellow on this guy. So he can line up fine. This guy, same clothing. We'll do this guy as another yellow. Gamberson wearing person. Just realised I've been painting the belt. So this guy we have no yellow robes and studded ones yet, so we'll get that done. Hey Fat Rat, how's it going? Said a major goof up there. Yeah, how come? Yeah, it's kind of funny. Not gonna lie. But there is a significant level of humor to that being the name of choice for such an event. Yeah, it might be best if you don't call your Nurgle Blood Bowl team Children of the Pox um, at a child cancer fundraiser. The Bile Rot Boogie Boys. Yeah, that works. Alright, Connor. Should this guy be predominantly yellow or blue? – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – –– – –– –– –– –– –– –– –– –– –– –– –– –– –– –– –– – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – Connor doesn't make a decision soonish, I'm gonna need to paint him anyway. But yeah, I think the yellow looks quite good. What do you guys think of it? Appreciating that I did definitely has enhanced it, I think. Predominantly blue, okay. Cool. I'm really hoping the ultramarine blue contrast paint looks as good as I think it will. So I've never tried it before, and I'm committing to painting this basically this entire army of the peasantry in it. I'm purely off pictures. Okay. That should be the yellow for this unit. I just rinse off my brush. And now we'll do the blue just so they, visually stand out and can, look pretty whilst we then start doing the browns and the skin tones. So this is where this colour scheme really is made or falls apart. I'm going to shake the hell out of it. I do have the backup blue if this one really doesn't work, but I'd rather not use it because it doesn't really have a very good contrasty effect. And worst case scenario, we use something like Drakenhof Nightshade. Oh, not Drakenhof. Oh, it is Drakenhof, isn't it? I am... Yeah, to layer up the blue. Do it really old school. Because I'm hoping, just based on how it would appear, that the blue from the ultramarine blue looks like it would be, a more common blue dye, rather than something like a lapis-based dye color. Because blue was one of the more common, well, a blue was a more common dye color. Right, I'm hoping that's shaken enough. There's always sediment at the bottom of contrast paints. That's not coming out unless I put like a magnetic ball and shaker in here. I use a shaker, but hopefully you guys can see what I mean by the blue it is. Should, with the like bone coloured primer, look okay. So, here we go, let's find out. Have I made a mistake and wasted money on a paint which isn't going to work? And I think ultramarine blue might be the exact colour I was looking for. It's nowhere near as strong as the Nasdreg yellow seems to be, which works out really well here. I'm hoping I can make it look even enough. I don't feel like I need to layer some normal paint over it. Are your Bretonnians the peasants, would you just say wear blue and yellow? No, in terms of that, it would be Artois. Because red is a even cheaper colour. And black. That matter. So Montfort. I have to leave that to dry, but it's looking promising. It doesn't look very contrasty. Just a little bit of concern. Yeah, the thing with like a good looking purple is you need to make it with lapis. And lapis being a rare rock, made it quite difficult to get. And then, you know, it's not just, you know, you're painting your dyeing your stuff blue, you're also having to find a suitable red to mix in with that very expensive blue to make it look appealing. It's why royal purple is considered the most expensive colour, because only royals could really afford to wear it. And then by the time, you know, it started becoming more and more available, it just was, you know, already had that prestige to it. Is also why generally I'm avoiding using purple in my Bretonnians, well, as much as possible, because I think it would be a colour which even in universe probably wouldn't be too common. Right, I'll be back in a moment, chat. Need to go and grab a drink. I am back. Doesn't look like anyone caused any mischief whilst I was away. I'm not really sure why. My cards seem just like incredibly pale. A musician here. Well, that's the point as well. If you have paid the points to have a color scheme come up with, so for example, we're painting mix men at arms here. I'm gonna need a name for your knight as well. It's just occurred to me we didn't actually get that far into it. Do you get buffs from musicians? Yes. Give me a moment. I'll finish painting this blue. Yeah, what I'll do is I'll finish painting this blue and then I'll go and grab the book to make sure I get the wording correct. Right, there we go. Also a good opportunity for me to bust out the book and use it as if I'm actually playing a game. Right. Okay, so the things a musician does. If once the combat result has been calculated, both sides have the exact same number of points each, the side that has a musician in the front rank of one or more of its units may claim a +1 combat result point. If, however, the opposing side has a musician, the redoubled efforts and almighty clamour cancel each other out, and neither side may claim this bonus. So yeah, in close combat, if both units, well, if a unit has a musician, they get +1 to their combat resolution. If a fleeing unit contains a musician, It may add a +1 modifier to its leadership characteristic whenever it attempts to rally, up to a maximum leadership of 10. The musician also makes it easier for you to rally when you start to run away. Should a unit containing a musician wish to march whilst within 8 inches of an enemy unit, it may apply a +1 modifier to its leadership characteristic, up to a maximum of leadership 10 when making its leadership test. So it also means you're a lot more like disciplined and you're not going to panic. And yeah, if a musician is slain, another rank and file model belonging to the same unit, but that is not a command group model, will retrieve the fallen instrument and take their place. Therefore, a unit cannot lose its musician unless it, the standard bearer, and the champion are the only remaining models in the unit. This applies even if the musician is targeted by an attack that allows a specific model within a unit to be targeted, or finds themselves lying underneath a template. Yeah, very cool and thematic is the best way to describe the entirety of Warhammer Fantasy's rule set. So, yes. Keep a musician in your units. Even the peasants. Because if your peasants get charged, having a musician there might make the difference. I say might. Probably not, because these guys probably aren't going to survive too well. But it might make the difference. It might be the thing that helps take the edge off, you know, a particularly weak unit charging your archers. And that blue looks quite good already whilst it's still drying on the horn there. It looks a lot better from this angle, where it's already a bit more dry. I think this section should also be blue. Yeah, it's one of the interesting thought exercises I've been having to think about when it comes to painting my Bretonnians, because I'm trying to make it look as authentic as possible. I mean, it's like I've been saying about how I'm using these colors here, this yellow and this blue, because these look closer to what peasants might actually be able to dye their clothing. Which means that the color palettes for my men-at-arms and my peasants are going to be different. Even Mick's knight is going to be a different set of blue and yellow to his men-at-arms, because he can afford to have the nice looking dye. He can afford the lapis blue. He can afford a more, brighter, more beautiful yellow. Speaking of which, Mick, should I leave this a plain colour? This will be a creamy brown colour? Or should I paint it a blue and yellow? It's up to you what we do with your musician. And also for the ruffles of his sleeves, should we do those striped or should we do them a block colour? It's up to you. But I am going to carry on painting the rest of the unit. Because either way, if we have to bust out the yellow, I have to clean the brush off. It's also why I haven't bothered priming any of the actual knights yet. because I don't know what colours I'm going to end up doing, and I want them to look brighter and more noble and a lot more clean than the peasantry. So I want to see how the peasantry look, so I know like how far not to go, basically. And hopefully as the blue starts to go down, you guys are going to have like a better idea of like how my mind's been picturing this unit. And it's occurred to me, like, whilst I've been painting these and like whilst I was like getting the colour schemes, all the paints together for this project, it's been a very, very, very long time since I painted like yellow in a meaningful way or blue. Like, I think the last time I painted like a large amount of blue was the skin on my towel, which is a bit of a different blue. Trying to work out where the actual line of his hood is and where his face actually starts. Oh yeah, all the units will get some weathering to some capacity as well. I don't like having clean models on Battlefield. The notable exception to that's probably going to be once I get around, well, once they release them, the High Elves. Because I have a very particular way where I think High Elves should be painted. and it was a very fun like fort exercise as well. And that is to not have have any black in the unit. Like the most like when it came to painting my high elves before, genuinely the darkest color on my elves in the main army would be something like this. And I always kept them very bright. Not that I ever really got around to painting this guy properly because I was a child. But you kind of get the idea from this guy who's awfully painted. And also from a guy who's a little bit more up to date. Back when I've got my first 3D printer, which is why all the lines are terrible on the helmet. Should probably reprint those. Yeah, brighter for them. For these guys, I'm basically treating this like a historical army. Really, so these guys are going to be dirty. There's going to be a lot of mud and stuff, I think, even though these are going to be city-dwelling peasants. The only downside to having the camera where it is it does get in the way a little bit of the maybe I should trim this paintbrush down. Yeah, I really like how the yellow has turned out on the hood there. It shaded really nicely just from the contrast. Can you make it sound a little bit more French? As it sounds a little bit German at the moment. And then sure, why not? There needs to be the one guy no one likes in every unit, right? So yeah, I've been thinking about like the themes of Borderlo and like how I can translate what lore there is about the city and the people into the models. And one of the things that's occurred to me is I probably shouldn't have any knight errants in this army. And if I do ever get knight errants, they're probably going to have to be forest themed. In terms of like the heraldries and like the colours and stuff. Because most of the lords, well, the knights of Bordello. You gonna stop shaking now, camera? Thank you. Most of the knights of Bordello did their errantry quest out at sea on boats rather than on horseback. And so it wouldn't be a particularly common sight to see knight errants running around. Which, from a gameplay perspective, is a little bit annoying because they are quite good for how cheap they are. There's a reason why you have to take a unit of Knights of the Realm per Knight Errants. So you can't just cheese and spam Knight Errants around. Also, there should be relatively few things of the Grail Blessing as well. As whilst obviously the Borderloans venerate the Lady and, you know, worship the Lady like any other Bretonnian faction. It is kind of like a dual religion state, well, dukedom, as a lot of them also venerate the god of the sea, Manan. So there won't be too many Grail vowed knights around, really. Or questing knights, really. So I wouldn't really be going questing for... Well, I suppose you could use questing knights to represent, like, not just those seeking the Grail. Favorite faction rules other than Bretonnians? I guess it'll be, like, core factions, High Elves. So I really like in this edition how you can really theme elven armies around particular gods. So to tie in with the fact I am doing Bordello, and in particular the city of Bordello, I really want to do a High Elf detachment dedicated to Mathlan, which is the elven god of the ocean. Because the city, well, the port of Bordello would always have some kind of elven vessel in its harbours. And so a contingency of Lothern Seaguard and Sky Cutters and stuff would be very, you know, thematically relevant. And would just look very cool as well. I love the Lothern Seaguard, they've always been one of the cooler units to me. Yeah, it's the thing with the old world is there's not really a faction which I wouldn't want to collect of the old world factions. And like even then, even if you include Warhammer Fantasy armies and the Legacy armies, it's not really a faction I dislike. Yeah, I really like how realistic Warhammer Fantasy, and by extension now the old world, has made cannons. Like compared to any other game. Like, I like the fact that, you know, the cannonballs bounce. And that, you know, they're not like refined, you know, highly accurate and precisely precision made weapons. And that we do have a chance for things to go wrong as well. Like, I know it slows the game down a bit, but at the same time, sometimes you do need to, like, you know, take your time to sit back and enjoy something. And it's not a first-person shooter. It doesn't need to be quick and snappy. It's a bit meh on the old one, but I'm changing my mind. Good. It's the thing as well, right? It's a new project. It's a new product. It's something to try. Even if you end up, like, you know, playing a couple of games and realize it's not for you, that's fine. It's always a good idea to try stuff first before making a decision about them. Which is why I'm able to say with confidence that Age of Sigmar is not a game I enjoy playing. Because yes, I have played games of Age of Sigmar. I can't count how many times some random guy broke into my house and started painting my models before me. Hi. Oh, thanks for leaving that coffee in the fridge. I can't broke Twitch. And Twitch really doesn't like you, does it? How long ago did this box get released? As I've kind of lost track of time recently. Alright, I think I'm just going to answer a question for myself. This guy. Alright, and then the lower half will be yellow, and we'll do the stripes in yellow as well, eventually. Alright, so our unit, as of right now, look a bit like this for now. So Obviously, we still need to paint the shields. But yeah, I think we've done a fairly good job of varying the yellows and blues through. Obviously, I know it looks like a bit, you can see the colours a bit more from the other side. From the player's perspective, I guess is the best way of putting it. The rear view unit. I can't wait to buy some magnetic trays. I can actually pivot these units around a bit better. Yeah, I think it gets the idea across so far. We still need to add in some of the like dark red kind of fabrics and stuff, like more like, you know, common colours, and like mix those in. But I think for now, like where we want the key colours to be, the yellow and blue, I think we've done quite a good job. Would you guys agree? Yes, the banners are probably going to get painted at the same step as painting the knights as well. Because I think the banners would be made out of the same kind of materials the knights would be using for themselves, realistically, because it's meant to symbolise that, hey, these are my guys. So that will probably be painted up in the same blues and yellows as the knight. And yeah, I'm quite happy with how this has gone so far. I think the blue is good. It's looking a little bit darker on the camera than it is in person. But yeah, I think I've done a good job of picking up the correct colours for painting Bretonnian peasants in blue and yellow. And I think the preparation work I did with priming the models in the 3 different colours to get the shading has definitely helped as well. Yeah, it's like if I try to shine some light on my face, you can see how dark the recesses are on the archer. Yeah, that'll be all for today, I think. So thank you everyone for joining. Hopefully you've found it interesting. Honestly, it's been personally really like satisfying seeing the contrast paints work as I always imagined they would. I'm really happy with how they've turned out so far. We're still going to go in and tidy them up with normal paints. But in terms of just like slapping the correct colours onto these men-at-arms quickly, I think we've done a really good job. So, if you want to see more of this because you like painting miniatures for Warhammer variety, or perhaps even Battletech miniatures, make sure to hit follow. I will be streaming miniature painting on Wednesday. We'll be continuing to do the Bretonnians then. And make sure to join my Discord server as well, as there's a chance that maybe Tuesday or Thursday we might also continue painting these Bretonnians. It's up to you guys what I stream on basically every other day. And finally, if you did really enjoy and you do want to help me out, the best way to support me is via Ko-fi. So if you want to do that and you want to help out, then the best way to do that is to just type an ! Ko-fi into chat and you'll get a link. But yeah, with all that kind of a shilling done, thank you all for watching, hope you've enjoyed, and I will catch you all tomorrow for whatever that brings. Have a good one.